That's the Pinoy.
We're back, and we're going to have exactly that, a continuation of the scenario, because we've had to cut it for the break. We've got Attorney Manny Luna with us, and we've got Bono Adasa, Governor Adasa. Let's continue with that.
That's the Pinoy scenario.
Noel.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
continue.
the Noel
Within
scenario.
the Constitution.
Yeah, because there are three forces you have to contend with. No? The second force is the Binay forces.
Ayan, hindi papayag yan. Lalaban yan.
Oh, yan.
Lalaban yan.
His properties are disappearing. His deposits are disappearing. He and his children and his wife will go to jail. If you are Binay, will you not examine extraordinary scenarios? He's one breath away from the president.
That's right.
So if the president
Tsaka marunong yan si Binay.
Yeah. And
abogado rin niya.
and
Magaling
then-
nga sa abogasya.
And if the president does not breathe tonight, Binay is the president. I'm not saying anything, but that is a probable scenario, di ba?
Correct.
No,
Kaya
Noel,
nga may busy ka eh.
why should he call for elections when he is the new president and there will be controversy on how Pinoy died? You see?
Between all the activities and all the scenarios that are playing out and the very volatile situation, which is, let's see, turned by the president and Malacanang as everything very stable, just like school today as it opened. Everything's done well. We don't have enough classrooms, not enough books. We are forcing 2 extra years, but everything is stable. Everything's great.
They're not thinking correctly, but the president never thinks anyway. So, so
I didn't say that.
no, I said it. And this is the third scenario. I consider this as the X factor.
Yeah.
What's the X factor? The X factor is composed of intelligent military men who know their duties, and for now are scouting for a civilian leader. They'll also invoke Section 3 of Article 2 of the Constitution,
Which is?
the armed forces of the Philippines is the protector of the people and the state. They have to protect. You know, it's protector of the people and the state. It does not say protector of Pinoy or the government. That's very clear. As a matter of fact, in other countries like Africa and Latin America, this is a provision which has been interpreted as a provision to legitimize a coup.
But isn't this exactly what happened here in Southeast Asia, sa Myanmar, sa Cambodia, kay Hun Sen? Yung naging, when they take Thailand, now Thailand's extended the general elections to rationalize the making the military people into civilian positions.
Yes, but here, you know, the military in this country cannot probably govern. I know that because I was the lawyer of all the putschists from 1987.
Ba't di nila kaya? Ba't walang...
Hindi nila kaya because the concept of the military in the Philippines is like in the United States of America. Always follow the civilian leader. It's like, unlike Europe, the graduates of Sandhurst in England and the graduate in Sincere in France, they are trained to be leaders. Here, our military, like in the United States of America, they are trained to be followers. But you never can tell about decisions. Some of them must have read Sun Tzu. Some of them must have read what happens in Sincere and in Sandhurst. You never can tell because, believe me, in 1986, what was the justification for in really Gringo and Ramos? The armed forces of the Philippines is the protector of the people and the state. Okay.
Well, they say also Cardinal Sin, the strength of the Catholic vote. Malaking bagay yun eh.
Credit Cardinal Sin for that sane realization.
Yes.
And the other, in 2000, the year 2000, when Gloria was installed,
that's right.
That's also the same justification.
Number 2,
because
people 2, power 2.
I was one of those who convinced the late General Angie Reyes to pull away from Iraq. Because I was telling him he has to choose between friendship and the country, and he chose the country. You know, I like that guy.
Too bad he shot himself in the cemetery.
Because he's like a samurai. The Bushido Code.
Rest his soul. Hindi ko nakikriticize si Angie.
No. You'll read him in my book.
Yeah, when we launched it.
We launched it here.
Do you agree with him, Attorney Luna? Well, Bono Adasa has been coming out with these scenarios rather scary, rather pinpointed as much as he injects comedy into it, his words and sarcasm actually pin the point straight on the donkey's tail, so to speak.
What
Do you
he-
agree with that?
What he pointed out are realistic scenarios. And we cannot discount those possibilities.
Nakakatakot yan, ha, attorney?
No, we are used to that. We are used to that.
with casual face. Yeah, we're used
And I
to
hope
that.
we will politically mature because of all these events. So these are not scary things. We have experienced all this, and from all these experiences we may probably grow into a better nation. However, my view is that the worst scenario is that there will be a manual election in 2016. That's because
Pero maganda yun, di ba? Manual tas electronic ang transfer.
Because
Yun ang mas gusto ko eh.
the people demand greater transparency.
Correct.
With all with all failures that took place in 2010 and 2013, the fiascos, the hitches, glitches, etc., perhaps the people
More
now have
transparency.
realized that we should know what really happens to one's vote.
Don't you trust the Comelec now that Andy Bautista is there? Of course, we also have Iqbal. What nationality is he from?
In a recent media forum, I told Chairman Bautista that we are giving him a honeymoon period. However, we have reservations with regard to the other commissioners.
Kasi, because they're already there, what's the reason with the others that ang mainstay doon, di ba, tatlo eh. Tatlong pinasok na bago, yung mayor, the attorney mayor, and this guy named Abbas, who seems to have come from nowhere,
Nephew of Iqbal.
nephew of Iqbal, which is iffy, who in his past life or experiences cannot seem to flag anything. But the other three are still there.
I'm referring to two senior commissioners,
The other two that are there.
yes, who voted for that refurbishment and granted this direct contracting to
So in other words,
Smartmatic.
they too are just as guilty even though Brillantes is no longer there.
Of course, they have to bear that
Sila ang kailangang
consequence.
bantayan.
They have to be held accountable for that contract that failed and which was declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. But I'm still hopeful that the other commissioners are still sane. I'm referring to Commissioners Art Lim and Louis Guia because they dissented. So
Did they dissent when, if they dissented,
They
then at
dissented.
least they washed their hands.
no, not really that they washed their hands. In fact, their opinions were also considered by the court in ruling against Smartmatic and Comelec. So we salute these two guys. But I
But
don't.
you still doubt them.
But, well, that's their work. Eh. We only judge them from the results that they turn out.
So do you trust them?
I
You
trust,
don't trust them.
I trust them, but I don't trust the others because I don't know them. And I have not seen results. I have not seen anything that will impress upon me that they will protect public interest. However, I'm giving the new commissioners the opportunity to prove themselves worthy of the trust of the people.
Si Abbas, wala namang problema. Pag hindi pumasa ang BBL, mukhang hindi naman papasa, mukhang naiipit na sa Senado. Bali, wala na si Abbas, wala nang role. Let's go back to you, Attorney Daza. You have filed a complaint for treason for no less the President and his minions. Where's that going? I just read not the paper and I saw you there.
It's in the ombudsman.
Ombudsman.
As a matter of fact, many cases involving
Baka mamuti na akademika na naman,
strategic people are sleeping in the ombudsman for about 2-3 years. In this case, they didn't even ask the respondents to comment. In 7 days, straight 7 days, they dismissed the case. I filed a motion for reconsideration. It's been 2 weeks now, and I think they finally realized that it's crazy to dismiss the case. And as a matter of fact, I will give them more problems because this week, I will include Ayala, Tagle, and the others.
Hindi pa kasama
Hindi pa kasama eh.
Inuna mo yung...
Wala pa sila noon.
Wala pa.
Peace panel. I'll also include Rufus Rodriguez and the members of the committee that endorse the BBL. So I'd like to see how the ombudsman will decide the issue. I'd like to see.
Is treason the right complaint, or is it betrayal of public trust?
No, this is under Article 114 of the Revised Penal Code. What is treason as defined in clear and simple English? Any citizen who levies war against the Republic of the Philippines or gives or adheres to its enemies or gives aid and comfort to the enemy. Okay.
Naku,
First-
you just described Pinoy. with
That's
the
exactly,
MILF.
that's exactly the point. And the Ombudsman claims that Pinoy cannot be investigated because that's prohibited by the Constitution. Totally wrong. Because under the Ombudsman law, any public official can be investigated. A suit that is envisioned by these people is a suit in the court of law. This is not a suit in the court of law. It's just investigating them, whether it's true that they have committed treason. Investigation. That's why they got stumped. It's plain and simple English. And another thing they said, there is no war in Mindanao. Then why are they saying that there is a peace process? If there's no war in Mindanao, what are these people talking about? There is a peace process because there's a war in Mindanao. The problem with these people is they're not reading books. There is a difference between a declared war and a state of war. There
Kala
is-
ko insurgency lang tawag dyan sa yung mga gulo-gulo natin sa Mindanao.
These are interlocking terms, interchanging terms. As you said, it's a matter of semantics. If you read very well, modern developments, you know, the 1945 decision that they used involves declared war. Here, now, war against terrorism, war against ISIS,
War.
war against MILF, war against MNLF.
War
Hey,
against poverty,
Yeah.
if anything.
Yeah, war against poverty, but never mind. Poverty is here to stay if the system continues. You know about poverty, you know, Harry and Panyero. I read a recent report that out of every 10 Filipinos, 7 die simply because they are poor. Why? They cannot buy medicine, they cannot go to the hospital, they cannot see a doctor.
Ganun
But
nangyayari.
putting it into bigger terms, out of 170
70
die.
die.
Out of 100,000, 700,000 die.
Palaki na palaki.
You see?
Malaking porsyento yan.
Lalaki yan.
Lalaki yan.
Lalaki ang figures. What's Pinoy doing about this? He keeps on claiming that there is progress, economic progress in this country.
That's
Where is the
problem.
progress? Where is the progress? I'm asking Cardinal Tagle, where is the progress? And besides BBL, it will bring peace to Mindanao. Are they crazy?
We're going to have to take a short break. But if Governor Adasa had to continue that statement, the next person you would ask is there's progress. And of course, they're in the Forbes list. The Zobels are up there, and they're just getting richer. Now, we're going to be right back. Stay with us for this concluding episode. You don't want to miss this.